welcome with a standing ovation for Mrs. Bunmi Oke, CEO, Ladybird. Come on, keep it going.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Thank you for a great job. Please sit down. Please sit down. Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here. So the topic is brand leadership in Africa, building trust, value and global relevance. I now added in the digital age because we're in the digital age, so everything has changed. Even me. Now the day my children call me Mama Tech, I felt I improved because I had to really hone my skills. You just have to keep moving. So the keynote really presentation is, this is our conference, African Entrepreneurship and Business Summit. Now, what I found interesting and I think was very motivating for me, even when I was doing my research, before we go to the next slide, was that I think we were very particular about African brands. And after my presentation, I hope that you will see what I discovered, because I don't realize that we actually do not have as many African brands that are global as we should have. Nigeria is one of the most popular nations. That means we are breeding, but are we breeding good brands? Are we breeding brands that are known? So there's a lot of work to be done. Why I always like to start this basic discussions. I hear people, I don't know if you hear that name, people say, I'm a brand specialist. I do branding. Just laugh. So for the purpose of this conversation, let's also just agree what is a brand and what branding is all about. It won't be long. So, because you're all experts, I'm just saying, all of you here are brands, and you're not. You're a brand. I'm a brand. I'm a brand of some sort. Yeah, a brand is a perceived image of a company. It evokes emotions. You come across a brand, you say, oh, Nestle, Coca-Cola, Peter. What is the brand? What does it say to you? Essentially, a brand is a bundle of benefits. Whether it's a country brand, if they say come and go, I use the example sometimes. If they say come and go to Afghanistan, how many of you are excited that Afghanistan is saying you should come and japa? There are young people here. Would you like to go to Afghanistan? Okay, what about America? Yeah. Why? Oh, it's all about imaging. It's all about, oh, you want to go to Libya? Okay, I won't. So it tells you something. We are getting somewhere. I won't say more than that. So a brand is a type of product, service, people that publicly distinguishes you from another. As time goes on, you also understand why there are certain elements you use in a brand. Then branding is a process. Now, this is what I want us to understand. The difference between a brand. Branding is a process of you developing your brand, where you create and disseminate the brand name, its qualities and personality. So there's a difference between a brand. A brand is a bundle of benefits. Say, okay, if I buy this computer, there are certain things that I'm sure of or I'm not sure of. That's why if you come across a brand you're not too sure, because you don't know the benefits. They may say, come and fly Peter. They say, which one is their Peter again? But they say, fly South African Airways, fly Peace, Air Peace. Let's be patriotic. Fly Virgin, fly British Airways. At least there's what they call bundle of benefits. You're already associated with that airline. Safety, comfort, fun. But there are some when they say, there's a new airline. Everybody's first praying, that because they don't know the benefits. So, why build a brand? There's what they call differentiation. When I was introducing my person, I had to look and think very well. I said, she's one of the most recognized women in advertising. I said to myself, oh, so I've been able to distinguish myself as a woman in advertising, which is good for my brand. Because I've had that many times when people say, if you are looking for a woman that talk about, thank God we use women to differentiate ourselves, because maybe if it's just about men, maybe not. But because you've made your mark in that area, the point is that you create a niche for yourself. Whether it's, some people will be the shortest person in advertising, or the tallest person in advertising, or the most creative. I'm just trying to say you create a niche for yourself. Trust and credibility, that's another thing. Will you do what you say you will do? I came on time. That's part of my brand ethos. Everybody, in fact, it's gotten to a point where I go to places, they'll say, Ms. Oke doesn't come late. Even if I was running half a week, half a sleep, I try my best to maintain time for so many reasons. And it also helps your credibility. I'm just saying, what is it that they trust you about? It's also about delivering the job. I mean, I said, the moment I said I will come here, apart from if God has said no, you must be here. You've given your word. Your word is your bond. But not everybody's like that. Some people, in fact, when they say they are coming, you have to be checking and and it's just, I'm just saying, what do we stand for? And we're coming somewhere, because this is what African brands have to think about. Our credibility. Are we reliable? Can people depend on us globally? When somebody says yes, it's yes. When they say no, it's no. Then economic growth. That's another thing about brands. I mean, Today, I don't know how many businesses I'll be connecting, but at least the young shall grow, have potential executives here that I can be working with. I'm refreshing my brand. Someone will say, that's true. I'll call this lady as a resource person. But at the end of the year, you never know what these things do. More importantly, it's a way of building your brand. And besides, at this stage of life, you keep on giving back. What's the essence of knowledge if you don't share it? We've all agreed that a brand differentiates. And we've understood what branding is. It's not a creative, fancy logo. It's not say, it's my logo, it's my brand. That's not it. There are various and more elusive and subtle factors that can make the world different when it comes to how a target audience perceive your brand. Because don't forget, you have to have a target audience, people who know you. And then every touch point you use, I found that I had to use pink as a default. So I have pink everything, short of having pink teeth. You know, it's a branding gimmick that has worked for me. And I use it a lot. So I get to the point that sometimes they call me Pink Lady. Not that let me tell you quietly, not that I love pink, but it's a default, it's a brand color, you know. It's a default because it's an effeminate color. And I'll tell you the little story how it came about. People used to say, boom, you know, in a profession, you don't give your acronyms, whether are Mrs., Mr. So sometimes people say, Bunmi Oke. So one day somebody said, hi, nice meeting you. I thought you were a man. That was there. I said, Bunmi, you have to do something. I don't look like a man. I don't have flat chest. I'm not. So how am I going to do this matter? So I started giving myself a default of pink. So anywhere I went to meeting, they say, pink lady. So I had pink this. So people started donating to my life. So that's just a little story about how a color works. And once I was on a plane, and somebody said she was looking at me, but she saw the pink jackets. Said this must be me. So you say it works a lot. Differentiation. So let's go on. And that's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Instead of buying black, you just buy pink. That's all. Just look for the color. I asked the question. I did some research because our topic is about African brands. Please tell me, can you in the hall give me 10 African brands that come to your mind? African brands. Dangote, yes. One. We have Dangote. Top of mind. Sorry, any African brand that you can think of? You are too international. You don't know African brands. What did you call it? Very good.
Batu.
Okay, Batu. Good. Oh, okay, M-Pesa. Okay, very good. Yes, it's African brands. Okay, Nigerian brands. You see now, they've been watching Nigerian brands.
Biggie.
Thank you. Biggie. Yes. Nigerian breweries. I can add that one for you. Which other one? African brands. Is that the Nigerian brand?
Yes.
Super Sport. Nigerian or African brand? Hey, let's you know me, I know this matter. The African, yes, South African. And it looks like we've had like 5 South African brands already. Nigerians, where are our brands? Now talk to us. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So you see how we're struggling. It's don't get me wrong. Okay, we'll leave that one. Let's leave that one now. You see, that's what the question is here. Top of mind awareness of our own brands, because we have gone so. I don't know if we've been watched. You know, thank God they're telling us now how to wear our African thing. My point is, it's very hard. Okay, let's go to international brands. I'm sure in 5 minutes I'll get. Thank you. Go on, sir.
Nike.
You see now? You see how it's flowing? Go on now. Go on now. You see now? Chewing gum. Go on. Go on now. What else again? You see? Which are, international brands, huh? Apple, Cadbury. You see that now they are all flowing. Which other one? International brands? Pepsi, thank you. Even the cars, Toyota, Japanese car. No, thank you for not putting it up. But have you seen the problem? Have you seen the problem with our African brands? We don't know them. Even we as Africans don't promote our own brands. That's why I like the new younger generation. Now they come up with a lot of brands, but they're not known. They're not known. There are a lot of new, but we need to promote that. That's the future. I finish my presentation like that. There's no African brand that is global. But having said that, one thing we must remember is that to navigate, how do we build trust, value, and global? First, as we navigate brand building and the complexities, it's crucial we explore how African brands can build trust. First, the state of Africa's digital landscape. We discovered that the digital economy is booming. So now, one advantage that we have now is our digital economy, because everything can be done online. You can fast track all those problems that we didn't have like before. Now you can have your brand go global if you really pursue it and push it as an African brand. I think that's even an advantage, if you ask me. Some of the challenges is that there's a trust gap. They said only 27% of customers express high trust in companies that interact with our local brands. If many of you, even Buka, thank God for food brands. We have things like Buka. What are those ones? Sweet Sensation, Mega Chicken. Thank you. But before we used to go to Kentucky, I mean, they will first go to Kentucky before they go to which other one? Those of you in the dating game. Well, you know, some of us, we are on maintenance campaign. We are past that stage. Where do you take those chiquitos to?
Chicken Republic.
You see now, Chicken Republic. Not even Chicken Republic is even South Africa. You see now? You see now? Who else? Uncle, I can't ask you where you are. Okay, where do you eat lunch? No. Thank you. Well, you see, I mean, without me doing too much drama, the point is, let me see what we're doing to our own brands. Even our food brands, I find it difficult to even patronize them. How many have you taken to your chick to Buka? So you see, we have work to do with that. We have dispersed our own assets. Okay, thank God. Even for football, they will say, "Which club do you belong to?" I'm sure. Who supports which club? Football. That's an area I know that will get in trouble. I have only men. Football. Sorry, sir. What's your? That's my son's. One of my sons. Liverpool. Sir, you see now? You don't. Arsenal. None of you support AEBS. Who about Rangers? Super Eagles. Hey, you see the problem we're having. So I think I can just sit down. I think we finish this whole presentation. That we know our problem. We are the cause of our own problem. We don't value ourselves. We don't value our brands, and we don't put them. We don't protect them. We're even helping other economies to grow because we don't realize we're doing a disservice to ourselves. We're not saying that you should discard them. Let's take the good things and then improve on the fact that we don't have African brands, and that is where I charge the younger ones. Maybe they will help us because honestly, I've seen a lot of very creative young brands coming up doing great things online, but they're so small and they're yet to really do proper professional branding, but they'll get there. Don't forget you have global competition. Whether we like it or not, we've got to develop the trust gap. There's a trust gap. Nobody trusts our own brand. We don't trust our own selves. We don't, in fact, it's the only Nigeria where I go to supermarket. If I come from the UK, in the supermarket, they'll be greeting me, hello. When I get to Nigeria, they say, madam, can I check your bag? I said, what are you checking for? Did I come to steal your milk? You know? And I think to myself, why is it that everything we do here is based on distrust? And you go to another man's country, they first trust you, maybe because they're the police who catch you. Here, our police are not too sure, but maybe that's part of the trust gap. So, well, it's all part of it. We have work to do. That's the truth. Even our police, that's why they don't have trust now that they will catch them. If not, they won't take it, Abby. So, let's go on. Almost there. So, let's just think about the positive now. Strategies for great brands. The great brands we have in this country that we mentioned, where is the Kellycons, some of the great things they do is they have authentic storytelling. They tell their stories. We don't tell our own stories. So what's our authentic story now? You know, we need to tell our stories and bring them back. And I think the younger generation, I think, is doing better. You know, they're the ones bringing back our Ashoke, making things funky. I saw the wedding, but the group there now, they've started marketing Ashoke globally. Everything, you know, things are changing. But are we branding for good? Also have purpose-driven leadership. Consider aligning a brand purpose. Why do you have a brand? A brand now, I think we need to have African brands that also have a purpose. They're employing people, they're bringing our women and men that are in the rural areas. We're bringing back old things. You know, let's push. We're not saying we should discard everything, because I mean, I believe in cosmopolitan behavior. But at the same time, I'm not anti-Nigeria. I'm very pro-Nigeria and I'm pro the world as a person. So my point is, we will patronize brands that are local if they meet up with our standard one day, and then we are the ones that must push them forward. I mean, picture if they decorated this place with Nigeria. Even the decoration here is not Nigeria, you know. So these are things maybe we have to start thinking. You know, you go to some countries, even when they say proudly Nigeria, if you go to the state house, you see everything branded in correct Nigerian. But in our status, they have more Swiss and American dresses that they have of Nigeria. So I think that it's just really changing our mindset. For brand leadership in Africa, to build trust, value, and global relevance, we'll need to do two things. First, the future of brand leadership in Africa will require that African brands thrive. To prioritize trust, we must trust our brands. And trust can only be built by you being authentic, by you being consistent, by you being available, by you being able to replicate yourself, and also to be of standard and quality. Then value. Value is the amount people are willing to pay. If you and I are ready to pay how many millions to go on that you trust, You know, you might not necessarily say you're going to pay the same. You know, it lets our workers. Sometimes, if you have a so-called expatriate, you're ready to pay far more in wages than yourself. Isn't that telling you something about value? So until we get to a point where we say, you know what, in actual fact, a Nigerian wage is a value of an international person. But we haven't reached that point. I'll give you an example. If you ask if you ask for a plumber to do a job in Nigeria for you, you know, even if you're not careful, the plumber will even have to pay you money because he has damaged more than what you even asked him to do. Why is that? Because of standards. But you go to, I remember there was a time I had an experience in the UK. And because I have a bit of family that live in the UK. And anyway, I had to call in a plumber to do something. And first, the way the guy brought out his paper, sat down, wrote his bill, did everything. In fact, at the point he now said, there's no need to pay for XYZ because we didn't change that part in Nigeria. Even if there's a part you didn't need, trust. They will tell you that, they even do drama. Madam, that thing, we have to change it. You know, that trust, that drama must go there. So we have a lot of things to do. Anyway, to cut the long story short, the guy was so professional. I never forgot that experience. And by that, he actually didn't charge us more than his out movement charge. And I thought to myself, if we call the plumber in Nigeria, I'm not sure they have been trained, you know, the guilds and all that. That's that. But getting to a point where we have to bring back that trust, we have to bring back standards so that we can add value. That's what we're saying. Then global relevance. You must be able to resonate. Somebody will patronize your services or your abilities globally when they see that you can relate with them. I mean, the other day, I remember I got a call, one of these calls from, you know, and the person said they'd done their research. They were researching about women in advertising in Nigeria, blah, blah, blah. Actually, I was very happy to get that information. That's why I said it's a niche. And they asked me some question and research, I did that, and they actually paid me for it. And I thought to myself, isn't it interesting? Because they know value, you know. And ordinarily, I might have even done it for free. But the point was, you know, they were very happy to pay for that information. Now, my point was, it was also a global company. And I asked myself, you see, when you get to a certain point in life, whether it's your personal brand or a global brand, you and I are ready to pay a certain amount for, this is not pure water. You've paid more for the bottled water here, isn't it? Because there's added value. It's not going to spill everywhere. It looks a bit more dignified. It makes all of us look very posh when you take pictures and so on and so forth. So there's a value that you're bringing to an environment. So my point is, for us to have global relevance, now that the Internet of Things is there, what I love about the Internet is that honesty, it's so nice yet it's so fake. You can have the best of brands. You don't necessarily have to have a multi-billionaire outlet. But what's important is that you must manage your image online so that you project what you want and then deliver on what you say you deliver. Once you can be credible, honestly, you find that the world takes you for who you are. So another thing we should do is embrace authentic storytelling. Let us not be fake. You know, you have people, everybody in Africa speaks phonetics. I don't even know where it comes from, but everybody, you know, in the sense that they say, somebody just went to Yaba there, started speaking. We say, where are you born? Say, oh yeah, man, I just came back. Came back from where? You know. So I don't know why we've done this to ourselves. You know. Then also we must be purpose-driven leadership. What is our purpose? What are we doing? Then digital transformation. We all know, everybody, even myself, even me, I've had to realize we have to be digitally transformed. The world, there's no excuse for you not. Somebody, I was having a little chat with somebody earlier. And I asked her, she asked me about, we're just having a chat. And I asked her, have you researched on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And she spelled it and she said no. And I thought to myself, in this day and age, there's no excuse for you not to have knowledge because it's right at your finger. That instead of checking your WhatsApp and selfie all the time, spend half of the time researching, you know. But what I've come to realize is that we don't use these tools for what they can do. They are very powerful. Our phones can give you. In our days, when I won't say a day, so you don't feel I'm too old. When I was a bit younger, I think that sounds a bit better. When we do research, do you know that you had to go to every library? I knew every library in Lagos because we didn't have it. Yeah, and I dare not tell my boss that I don't know what this is about. We'll be doing maybe when Ken was saying he was looking for models, maybe we're doing models, hairdressing. You needed to know about maybe hairdressing styles in Nigeria. So you're not going to sit at your table. They had the Pakwelek there, they had the Independence Day. You had to go to libraries to research that one. Now all you do is sit on your phone and press. Even that one people don't want to do. No, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for not having knowledge now. And you know what? You can look super sharp if you know how to use those things because it's right at your fingertips. But you know what I love about the Internet of Things? it is what you give in that you give. You know, if you don't know what to ask it will give you nonsense. Have you ever asked the internet about yourself too? And sometimes I play with it. I say, what did Bunmi Oke do in Japan? To see what it's going to say. Because you know, it tells a lot of lies. Me, I have not been to Japan, so I want to see whether it's going to say anything. You know, so you find out sometimes even the internet tells that you don't know what. So you got to realize that it's garbage in. It's not foolproof, but at the same time, it's useful. You know, but if you guide there, say no, that's not the Bunmi Oke that went to Japan. I'm talking about the one that's then he will correct itself. You know, the internet too is also very smart. Say, oh, maybe you are thinking about. I say, now, well, a person has to be very careful. And AI is no better. If you don't know what you are saying, if they tell you stories that are not true, please, I'm sure the AI experts will correct us, because I've tried it. There was a day, on a lighter note, I gave 2 young people in my office a task to do. And I read it. Oh, did you, this beautiful task, who did it? I did this, man. They will put man to be very polite. I said, and you know what happened? The other one, who did it? I wrote it. It was the same thing. So I asked myself, I had to tell myself that this internet will get us in trouble. They both told me they did the same thing, and they came up with the same thing. I mean, even if you are doing exam, executive bully, that's when it becomes executive. That's why they have business class, first class, economy. They even have cargo, because the packaging is different in each of them, is it not? Yeah. There's a reason, and it attracts more value and the price. But the bully, they say it's not the same as the bully on the road. It's not 500 naira. Sure. They added value. So on that note, packaging is about adding value, not just emptiness. Thank you. We have to separate the reality of the fact that business can be brutal, but sometimes you have a few people that have human kindness. But unfortunately, human kindness alone does not build businesses. Sometimes people are waiting for you to succeed or otherwise before they support you. Let us not make it too complex. Success attracts many people. When something is successful, whether it's negative or positive, they tend to support for human reasons, for business reasons, not that reason. If you look at stories of success, Walt Disney, have you heard the story of Walt Disney? The guy took his cartoons for years, almost growing great. I don't know, you see, you must read out stories. Success has many friends, failure is an orphan. Walt Disney, that we all go to Disneyland today and all that, the guy went about with his cartoon. They couldn't even understand animation. People said, please don't bother. Today the man has gone, his generations are benefiting from it. That you have an idea today and it's not full, it doesn't mean that there's no value. You have to build the value for yourself. If I vex and build the value for yourself, it might require a different strategy. That is how Walt Disney, there are many stories like that. You need to look at different stories, because people have built stories. We only see the shine of stories. We don't know the story behind many of these things. That's really where the real problem is. But business can be brutal. That's the point. And that's why sometimes when they say, that person is tough, it's not about that. I would say that people that associate with you in business, if you do a good job, they will. I'm here to see a boss. I used to say that I'm here to see a boss that they like, that doesn't perform. They will like you if you perform. If you can perform, they will like you. If you don't perform, nobody will like you. So you are costing them money. The board will like you when you have good results. Oh, you're so good. That's why I said business can be brutal. If you want to, for entrepreneurs here, look, it's not going to be a tea party. You know, one thing about SMEs too, I want to tell you is that, you know, an SME, because they don't have the same value as multinationals in terms of equity as well as deep pockets. You cannot do it. The way you're going to market and do things is going to be different. And that's the truth of the matter. Sometimes you just have to be authentic and say, you know what, I just need your support in this area. You sometimes have to come out right. Don't think just because you write one fancy letter, they're just going to say, this is from Mr. It won't work. You've got to be able to sell your story. That's it. You are making a sales pitch. That's it. And if your sales pitch doesn't work, have you tried to buy something from somebody, or sell, how will I put it? You know, as we're all smiling here, it's very easy. But if I now come to you and say, by the way, I have material for sale in my boot. You know, the way I swear I mean might be different, because now I'm asking you to exchange money. If I can't convince you why you should buy that, you will not part with your money. You will even say, hey, just because I sat with the person on the table, do they think that because of that I must be paying my money? It's not going to work. So that's fine. You have long eyelash and all that. It's not going to work. You have to show value. Once they see value in you, trust me, the money will follow you. So
thank you so much, Bunmi. I love how pragmatic your session is. Very, very practical. One of the questions I want to ask you about what you're saying about packaging is, it almost feels for me that, and maybe it's maybe more provocative, but when is it when are you being impressive and when are you being effective? And when do you have to interplay the two? Because you can only package for so long, and then the rate of return of that packaging, at some point I need to see results. I need to see receipts. So how do we play that game between being impressive and then turning it around to be effective?
No, very good question. Thank you. I really wish I knew the answer. But no, no. What I would say is that what I mean by that, I can only use my a bit of my experience. At least I'm not exactly a spring chicken, so, and I've survived so far. So, but what I would say is that question is very important. I think first and foremost, you've got to know the business you're in to know the type of packaging you give. If you're in show business is all about packaging. But if you're in a technical business, I had people that will ask them, please help me repair this, and they'll say, madam, don't worry, we're doing it. In my head, I'll say, you don't know what they are doing. That just because I asked the person question. But if you're in show business, you're coming to entertain me, your packaging can go. Even you can just like Jaguda, they will say it's creativity, you know. But let's put it this way. I think first and foremost, even with brand, you've got to know what do you want to perceive as your own personal brand or your business brand. Some business brands want to be known as, I'm rough and ready. I mean, you have some, every brand has its own persona. Even among the airlines, you have different, if I have to tell you a story, like, in brand building, they say, if it was to be a human being, how will you describe that brand? So or will you describe that brand as an animal? If I'm to say, okay, stout, how will you describe stout? Is it male or female? Stout now. Is it male or female? Thank you. People will probably say male. Why? Perception. It's black. It's got no frills. But if it says Fanta, why would they say Fanta is? So what I really think, and that's why it's a discussion. I like it's a workshop. First and foremost, know what kind of brand you want to be. There's different room for packaging, but there's functional packaging. That's another thing. Some packaging is functional. They're not just cosmetic. That's the difference. In fact, we can have a whole workshop on packaging. Some packaging is functional. It must be kept. There's some things they say, if you mix this chemical before that, you have lost the formula. So they will say, for example, women that do dye, they relax their hair. If you don't mix it well, you're not going to get anything. Let's even colors. If you mix certain colors together, if you don't mix one quantity, so some packaging, they'll say, put this one first, this is second, and then. So some packaging is actually functional. If you put screws before you put glue, you may not get the right outcome. So packaging on its own has a whole understanding. Some is protective. Some packaging is protective. They actually, like when you get your computer, some of the packaging is done in such a way that it's not cracked before it reaches you. So the same thing with your business. Some packaging is protective of your business. You must have, what do you call it? You must have trademarks. You must, and so you can go on a whole lot. So what I would say is that let it be functional. Let it be based on an objective. Why are you packaging and what are you packaging for? You giving the right impression of yourself or of your business. How do you even want to be taken seriously too? If your business presentation is not done well, I could have come here and not even done a presentation, but I don't think that would make me even feel that doesn't go with my professional standards. So I could shakara him because I know I've done the homework, so I didn't feel ruffled. But imagine if you come in here, there's a way if you don't prepare for a presentation, it will show. So it's all about you. What impressions are you creating of yourself? So I think you should be more worried about yourself and then add the value you're going to attract for yourself, because it will come. People know. When I was going to become president of the association I was the second president. We have been 50-year-old. I was the second woman. My boss was the first, I was the second, and they haven't had any other one. You know what I always say jokingly? It's the men that puts me there. Why? Because they say you can do the work. You can't package if you don't do a good job. People will know that. And if you do a good job is gender neutral. It's got nothing to do whether you're a man or a woman. What is critical is your journey to success is never the same for everybody. I hope you know. And the path to creating great brands is never the same. Go and read stories. That's why you must read stories. And then you have what you call value added. I even like to work with people who, I like to add value where I can add value. Because I don't believe knowledge is of any use in the graveyard. So at my stage of life, I believe that my job is to give back as much as I can. But that's my personal viewpoint. Almost to the point that they'll tell me, Mommy, are you sure you want to do it. But what I always look at is, what is the value? Value is not only about money. You look about different things. What are you gaining? What are you getting from each other? So you work it out. But what I would just say is that don't think that because one person went this way. That's why people who are corrupt tend to look as if they are richer faster for a season. Wait, so what is the purpose of sinning if you can't use it? But that's another story for another day. Yes, one more.
Bunmi Oke, thank you so much for the presentation slash workshop slash mentorship session. We really do appreciate it. I think you kicked things off very well here with the exercise you conducted amongst us, where you asked us about African brands, Nigerian brands, and global brands. And of course, as a business owner myself, and I think that resonates with everyone who's here, is that we'd like to have these global brands ourselves. And I want you to tell us, maybe, what do you think we are doing as Africans, and how can we take our SMEs to the global stage so that we can compete with those global brands? With your 3 decades of experience, how can we do that as business owners? Thank you so much.
Please start for that question. Thank you so much. Fantastic question. I think the first thing we have to be honest with ourselves is that you've got to decide, where do you really want to be? And you've got to have understanding. What I've discovered in SMEs is that they don't understand the value of brand building. So I had to start, in fact, when I used to tell them, and I'll give you an example of what I mean by that, is that, professionals sometimes are the worst culprits. It's like saying you go to your hairdresser and say, don't worry, I'll do my hair myself. You don't want to pay. The problem with branding is that everybody believes that they are a brand builder. What is their eye to? I'm a brand especially. They think there's no skill to it. But how many brands are in the graveyard? They don't do they don't give account of how many died. You don't hear the results. If you have to go to a brand graveyard, there are plenty. Many that they have killed, that you think, even with multinational, many brands have, they've had to do meetings where they've had to cover up that, they lost for a launch of a brand. That's why they deal with professionals, with multinationals. And what I would just say is that, if we want to be brutally honest with ourselves, I think the first thing is for us to have more workshops like this on why must you build a brand and how do you build a brand. I remember I had, and maybe this experience will be valuable, and that is really why I do what I do right now. I was on a company, a women's organization called WIMBIS, Women in Business. I got onto their board at a point, but something happened. This was in 2011. There were these NGOs that came. You see why Americans and people are more ahead of us. They came and said they're looking for 4 women that they want to take to go and train in Uganda. That's, for brand building for SMEs. And they were looking for a woman in marketing communications, a woman in product design, a woman in finance and something, and then international business. Fortunately, my name came out. I didn't even have the time first, but I found out they said there was only Bunmi they knew at that point. So I went for that training. Even for me, it was an eye-opener. That's when I realized that you have the way, what they were trying to do, and it was, by the way, it was called Vital Voices, ExxonMobil. And what I noticed was that they realized that the way an SME does brand building is different from a multinational. Because first and foremost, you don't even have the kind of platform, you don't have the kind of budget, neither do you. So you have to learn these skills. So they taught, and we were training people. We went there and we came back, and that's what I now do, a lot of training. But you know what I can't realize? A lot of people don't even understand why they need to build their brand. They don't even see that it's important. That, why, just like why are we leaving our Rangers and all that? Because we're not adding the value. We're losing. Do you know how much money you are making for, well, I'm not against football, for Arsenal and all, but we're devaluing our own country. And that's why we're wondering why we're not earning, our pockets are not deep. The value of some of the brands we have compared to our Nigerian brands, they are not even, we haven't even scratched the surface, tools and everything. So you must know what is your value. So I think the first thing we really need to do is to be brutal with ourselves and do things professionally. Do things professionally. Let's have workshops where you can let's put it this way, you might not be able to afford what an agency does, but you can have workshops. Like have a workshop, I say brand building workshop, where it is democratized. People pay, what you would have paid for one person, 20 people can share the cost, 30 people, so that at the end of the day everybody gets what it is. It's about knowledge, nothing else. We don't have the knowledge. That is what's happening. When we go, the same thing we do for multinationals. And the difference in multinationals, they know the value of what you are doing. It's like you going to a doctor and say, why should I do this test? You know, if the person is sick, you won't answer that question. They must just know why they deal with advertising agencies and experts, because they know the value of what they're putting. So I think if we really want to grow our brands, let's stop doing everything DIY. I know how to cook my own soup. I know how to paint my own house. I know how to sweep my own. Get the people that can do a better job than you and learn from them. That's what I would say. Thank you. So thank you very much for listening.
Let's make it bigger. Let's make it bigger. Let's make it bigger for her. That was so